Hey guys, Dave with First Place Auto Parts, and when I'm out in the shop, it seems like I'm always cleaning up something that's either greasy or has a ton of brake dust on it. And in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the various types of cleaners that are available to you as a home mechanic or even a shop when you're working on your vehicle. Look, not every product and every cleaner is right for every application. In today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at brake cleaner, carburetor and throttle body cleaner, and also mass airflow sensor cleaner to get a better understanding of where we're supposed to use them and perhaps more importantly where not. So stay tuned, and today we're going to take a look at everything under the hood that has to do with cleaners. Hey guys, if you like today's video, please consider subscribing to the First Place Auto Parts YouTube channel. We're going to continually be adding new videos every week where we show you how to put new parts on, we take a look at the latest parts that are available, and we go to some pretty cool car guy stuff I'm pretty sure you're going to want to see. So most of these products will clean up greasy items pretty well, but the reality is that they have different applications for a reason. When you're working on your brakes, anytime you get new rotors or you put new pads on, the first thing you should do is clean these things off with some sort of a cleaner. Now there's dedicated brake cleaner for this. The one thing you would never want to use on your brake components is a carburetor cleaner. And when you're working on a carburetor, for example, they have different requirements as well. Look, the carburetor is going to have rubber components in it that you do not want to hit with a really harsh chemical, and yet you want something that's strong enough that will reduce the gum and the varnish buildup, maybe say from some old gas that has been left in there, but also at the top of the carburetor where the air bleeds are, where dirt typically collects and makes tuning difficult. So first of all, we're going to start off with talking about brake cleaners, okay? And there's two types of brake cleaners that you commonly have available now at your local auto parts store. One is chlorinated and one is non-chlorinated. And we're going to tell you what the difference is right now. Now in front of me I have the two different types of brake cleaners, and typically they come with different colors on their cans. This stuff has a chemical known as tetrachloroethylene in it, which is a very aggressive cleaner. This brake cleaner, this chlorinated brake cleaner, is going to be your strongest type of brake cleaner available, although some states have actually banned the sale of this stuff due to that chemical. Look, it's pretty caustic, guys. If you're using rubber gloves when you're doing your brake system, which I recommend you do because that brake pad material will get everywhere on your fingers, also put on your fingernails, but this stuff will eat those gloves. Look, this stuff is not safe for rubber products. It'll damage that kind of stuff. So when you're spraying this near your calipers, particularly around the piston area, don't soak it a lot. Be careful with this stuff because it's very effective at what it does. I love using this stuff for degreasing all kinds of small parts when there's no rubber involved. Now, non-chlorinated brake cleaner in this green can from CRC, look, it doesn't have that really aggressive chemical in it, but it does a decent job at cleaning off brake dust and also light greases. Look, this stuff is good for probably 85% of your uses. It's very environmentally safe and is sold everywhere. This stuff in the red can, the chlorinated brake cleaner, like this stuff has uses beyond brake cleaning. Like I said earlier, I've used this to clean a lot of grungy parts, especially on my dirt bikes where you get that two-stroke spooge out of the silencer. But inside, and then when I'm working on a carburetor where there's no actual products that have rubber or Viaton on them, I'll use this as well. This is a very aggressive cleaner. Look, I've even used this to prep some paint areas before, some small stuff that I've been spraying with a can, and this stuff works great. I usually have 6 or 8 cans of this on my shelf at any one point in time. Typically, I don't even bother with the non-chlorinated. Look, if all you're doing is brakes and you're just using the cleaner for that, this stuff is fine. But if you can find that the chlorinated is a better brake cleaner. Now, the one place where you really want to use this right product is when you're working on a carburetor. And what I have here is a combination carburetor choke, but also throttle body cleaner, and that's going to be the important designation. Traditional carburetor cleaner would leave a residue behind on the actual carburetor itself to help facilitate the reduction of friction at the throttle shafts and also the throttle blades. It was one of the reasons that you did not want to use traditional carburetor when you were doing your brakes because of that residue it left behind. It would actually impact or impart that residue and not allow those brake pads to bed very well and possibly contaminate them for life. This new product from Berryman, which is for both throttle bodies and for carburetors is said to not leave behind any kind of a residue, but I still would not use this on brakes, okay guys? This is a specific part. The products in it are specifically aimed at dissolving the gunk and the varnish that comes from today's gasoline. So make sure that you use the right cleaner when you're working on a carburetor. This product is effectively and safe for all vehicles that have oxygen sensors, and that's something important to note as well. Not all traditional carburetor cleaner, because of the oils that it had and that it left behind as a residue, was not safe for oxygen sensors. So if you're working on a late model car that does have oxygen sensors in it, especially if you're working on a throttle body, some of these throttle bodies have a plastic or a Teflon coating on them that traditional carburetor cleaner will strip away. So when you're working on a carburetor, use traditional carburetor cleaner. If you're working on a carburetor but you also have a late model car with a throttle body, make sure you search out the stuff that's listed for both throttle bodies and carburetors. Then there's also traditional throttle body cleaner, but I like to have a can of this around on my shelf because I do have some late model vehicles, but I also have a lot of carburetor vehicles around my place as well. So you don't want to use this on brakes. Make sure you use brake cleaners on your brake components. You can use this product when it's labeled for throttle bodies on late model vehicles to clean out the throttle bodies as well. So again, the right products for the right process, for the right vehicle parts. Make sure you stick to that. Make sure you read the labels carefully because again, with carburetor cleaner, there is a carburetor cleaner only that you will not want to use on your throttle body. And finally, when you have a late model vehicle, you still have to be worried about cleanliness, and it has to do with the mass airflow sensor, or the MAF, M-A-F. There's a special cleaner for those things, and the reason is there's a fine wire that actually reads the air as it goes past it right after the air cleaner. You'll see a little box in the inlet tube that has some wires coming out of it. That's going to be your MAF. That wire can be heated or it can be non-heated, but either way it's very delicate and any of the other pre-mentioned cleaners will not work. Brake cleaner is too strong. Carburetor cleaner will leave behind a residue on that thing, and what we're trying to do is get any dirt and residue off of it, especially if you run one of the gauze type air cleaners that you oil after you clean it. Look, a lot of people over oil those things, and what we found over time is that oil will migrate to the mass airflow sensor wire and will actually make it less sensitive, which means the car doesn't run as well, right? It's getting a lot of information from that mass airflow sensor wire, and if it's coated with anything, dirt or oil, it becomes less sensitive, which becomes less efficient. So this stuff is specially made for mass airflow sensor cleaning, and it dries very quickly. Typically, you can clean these things with this product while the mass airflow sensor is still installed in the car. It evaporates that quickly and does a great job. Look, it only takes a couple of squirts. They advertise that this thing can increase horsepower up to 4 to 10 horsepower, and really that has to do if you have a very dirty MAF, but overall this stuff works really well. It dries super quick, and it's something you can use with the mass airflow sensor on the car. Now look, still don't use this stuff for brakes, don't use it for carburetor. Again, use the right cleaner for the right product, even though it's tempting if you have a can of brake cleaner on the shelf to go hose down your MAF, don't do it. Use the right product. Look, those mass airflow sensors are very expensive and they play a really important role in how your late model car runs. Get the right product. Guys, we live in a specialized world, and the cleaners that you're going to use under the hood of your car, truck are specialized as well. Look, they're better than they ever were, but they also are very focused in their application. Make sure you use the right cleaner for the right part. And if it comes to a point in your car's project when you can no longer just clean away the issues with your carburetor, or brake cleaner is not going to fix your brakes, or you just want to do some upgrades, please visit our First Place Auto Parts website. Guys, we've got tons of restoration performance parts for every type of late model and also American muscle car, and truck that you can imagine. It's always open, it's super easy to use. Just go to fpautoparts.com and there you'll find everything you need to either fix or upgrade your project. I appreciate you watching this video. Hopefully it's helpful. And until next time, keep the hammer down, keep it between the guardrails.